The word Apache comes from the Yuma word for fighting men. It also comes from the Zuni word, meaning enemy. Well known for their superior skills and warfare strategy and inexhaustible endurance, the Apaches have a long history of continuous wars among tribes and invaders. Divided into numerous subgroups, the Apache people occupied vast land throughout North America, and it's for this very land that they developed their reputation of battle. Invasion is a word not many in this day and age envision or even consider, but for one Apache tribe residing very close to the border, it was a word that had plagued them for centuries. They were known as the Lipan. The name Lipan means the light gray people. It comes from the Lipan word for a light gray color, klapai, and the word for the people, Inde. But behind this seemingly odd name comes a meaning that is almost like a code. A code which commemorates their ancient journey. The Apaches would see the earth like a compass, with each of the points corresponding to a color. North was white, south blue, west yellow, and east black. Now since the Lipan had taken a great journey, coming from the north and ending up all the way in Texas, they had become the easternmost Apache tribe. They started in the white and ended up in what they saw as the black. On a color palette, if you were to mix a little black in with white, you would get light gray, hence the name. The Lipan were, at first, merely a small group of eastern Apache who were continuously forced to migrate away from the aggressive hostile people. Hardened by external pressures, the Lipan themselves were forced to turn to war. With their keen instincts, knowledge of the land, and exceptional hunting abilities, they grew to become skillful warriors who were fighting for more than just territory. They were fighting for heritage. It did not matter how harsh or diverse the environment. The Lipan adapted. Living close to nature, they knew exactly which plants to use for food and medicine. They roamed from harsh desert climates to the mountains of Mexico, evading their Spanish and American enemies undetected. Apparently, Lipan scouts knew so much about living closely with the earth, they would sometimes seem to vanish before their pursuing enemies. They excelled at blending into their surroundings, allowing them to quite literally live off the land. Living off the land was essentially the foundation of Lipan existence. The environment entirely affected their living conditions. If buffalo or hides were plentiful and the weather cold, they would live in teepees. Otherwise, they would build shelters out of branches, sticks, and leaves, known as wickiups. Their clothing was all leather, and they only possessed articles that were easily and quickly transported, so only objects that were light and would not break. The pond scouts were able to track anything over any sort of ground. They used the leaves, dirt, mud, and ashes to camouflage themselves from animals, hiding their scent. This was crucial to their survival. To demonstrate their hunting skills, men would stalk animals such as deer, bears, and wolves very slowly and quietly to be able to touch them without detection. Skills such as these transcended easily into warfare. The pond warriors could approach an enemy very quietly without notice. They were said to have been able to steal horses under the very nose of those who guarded them. The Lipan sensed spirits in nature. Taking the life of an animal or plant to eat would express gratitude to that plant or animal's spirit. To them, all of creation had spirit, and it was common to all aspects of life. As mentioned earlier, the Lipan's vast knowledge of plants became evident in almost every aspect of their survival. They were foragers, and had to scour out and test which plants were edible. However, they did become masters through trial, eventually having such extensive knowledge of wild plants that they could find a feast, even in the barren deserts. They used cacti for edible, medicinal, and spiritual purposes. Known to be one of the earliest users of peyote, a psychoactive cactus, they consumed it in order to go on spiritual vision quests, to better understand oneself and one's alignment with nature. The Lipan lifestyle thrived from the late 1600s into the 1800s, as they nomadically traveled tactfully trying to evade the enslavement by the Spaniards and the encroachment by the Americans. The Lipan eventually split into two groups, the southern western and the northern eastern, each residing in their respective regions of Texas. By the early 1900s, however, the Lipan had abandoned their previous lifestyle and were forced to learn how to grow their plants due to their exile onto reservations. Their centuries of escape had finally caught up with them, and soon they became victim to disease and the American desire for land and settlement. It is quite saddening that a tribe who appreciated and accepted the land so much became eradicated from it. No matter how harsh the environment was, they had adapted and overcame it. Unfortunately, they could not adapt to the harshness of man. After all, it was man that gave these people their constant need to flee, while it was nature that protected them. The Lipan didn't simply use the land, they embodied it, encapsulating it into every being of their existence. They utilized it to an extent that could not even be fathomed in society today. It was as though the land was their guardian, giving them food when they were hungry, medicine when they were weak, shelter when they were cold, and protection when they were hunted. Had the land not given the Lipan everything that it did, they may have died off long before their story could have told. Fortunately, the Lipan took what nature gave and cherished every being of it, and by doing so, their memory and their heritage did not have to vanish like a Lipan scout.